National security officials have been sounding the alarm. They are holding a classified briefing today on TikTok. Then the House is expected to vote on that bill tomorrow. It would require Chinese company ByteDance to sell TikTok or face a ban in the United States. There are now reports that the CEO of TikTok is planning to come to Washington this week to testify. Joining me right now is the chairman of the House Energy and Commerce Committee and Washington Congresswoman Cathy McMorris Rodgers, whose committee drafted the TikTok bill. Great to see you, Congresswoman. Thanks so much for being here.
Good to be with you, Maria.
Are you expecting the TikTok CEO to come talk about this week?
I certainly have heard the reports that he would like to meet with more of the senators. We've had him before our committee. He testified before the House Energy and Commerce Committee last March. It only increased the concerns that members on both sides of the aisle had as we witnessed TikTok being caught repeatedly in this lie that it is not beholden to the Chinese Communist Party because of its ownership by ByteDance. We know because of internal recordings by employees of TikTok that they have said that everything is seen in China. And we know that we cannot trust China to uphold our data security or our American values of freedom. That's why this action must be taken to force these apps that are controlled by foreign adversaries like China to either divest or be banned in the United States of America.
So do you expect this bill to pass? Will you vote on this bill? Yes.
Yes, the House is scheduled to vote on this legislation tomorrow on Wednesday morning. We had a very strong vote last week in the House Energy and Commerce Committee, 50-0, a unanimous vote, which only underscores how strong the bill is and also how the members believe this action needs to be taken, that this is a national security threat. The amount of data that is being collected right now, data that ultimately can be used to target, surveil, manipulate Americans by the Chinese Communist Party. This is a real national security threat. The bill is narrow. It is targeted to address the national security threat that we believe these apps like TikTok pose to the United States because of its ownership by a foreign adversary.
So what do you make of President Trump coming out against this bill, warning that if you ban TikTok, it will double Facebook's business? In 2020, Trump wanted to ban TikTok. He ended up pushing the company to reform itself via its Project Texas action. Kentucky Senator Rand Paul also came out against the bill, warning that it will endanger the First Amendment and empower the federal government to ban social media platforms. He posted this on X. If Congress bans TikTok, they'll be acting just like the Chinese communists, who have also banned TikTok. Why not just defend the First Amendment, Congresswoman?
This is requiring TikTok to make a choice. So TikTok will have to make a choice as to whether or not it remains beholden to the Chinese Communist Party because it is owned by ByteDance, that we know is controlled by the Chinese Communist Party, or if it severs its ties, if it's divested and sold, then it can continue to operate in the United States. We share so that is not related to content on Facebook or on TikTok. We are not addressing content. This is a national security threat. The bill is targeted and specific, focusing on the national security threat. We're not getting into content. And as far as President Trump raising concerns about the bill, we share his concerns around Meta and other big tech companies in the United States of America, and we are working to address privacy, national data security issues related to these big tech companies. This bill is targeted towards foreign adversaries and apps that are controlled by foreign adversaries like TikTok, but also other foreign adversaries that control apps. And what the bill does is in this case, it forces TikTok to make a choice. We are not making that choice for them. If they want to operate in the United States, they need to sever their ties with the Chinese Communist Party that's ultimately controlled by ByteDance.
Well, I mean, the President Trump's take on this, he says, I don't want Facebook doing better. They're a true enemy of the people, he wrote on Truth Social, because they tried to interfere with the election. Do you have any worries about that? That this makes Meta more powerful, and those Zuckerbucks were very important to the Democrats in the last election?
Well, I share his concerns about Meta and Facebook and other big tech companies. This bill is focused on TikTok, it's focused on apps that are controlled by foreign adversaries, and it builds upon what President Trump attempted to do when he was president.
Yes.
As far as what's going to happen if TikTok is forced to divest, it could go a number of different ways. It could become public, and then it would still be operational in the United States, or it could be sold to someone else. It doesn't say it has to be an American company. It simply says it has to divest from a foreign adversary. In this case, it is China.
Yeah, and by the way, we are well aware of the aggression out of the Communist Party of China, Congressman. So I understand the threat here. I want to move on to get your take on all of these taxes. $5.5 trillion of new taxes President Biden wants to implement as part of this massive $7.25 trillion 2025 budget. Biden is proposing a 25% minimum tax on those with more than $100 million, a 28% corporate tax rate, and a 21% minimum tax for billion.
Is not going anywhere in the House, but I would just say that this is just staggering, the taxes that President Biden is imposing upon small businesses, individuals, corporations in the United States. It is suffocating to our economy. I would take us back to when President Trump was in office and we passed the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act that caused our economy to boom. The United States of America has always been known for its entrepreneurial spirit. Small businesses are the driver of our economy. We are the country where you can start a business, grow business, improve people's lives.
You and your colleagues in the last 3 years have been complaining about all of the spending that the Democrats were doing. They pushed through the Inflation Act, which didn't cut inflation, America Rescue Plan Act, the CHIPS Act, and I know, some of this.
Hire each other to do things the